One, two, three, four, five.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to school. But don't worry, everything is cool. I'm your host, Jalissa, and of course, I'm here with the boys, Steve and Brandon. Say what's up, you guys.
What's up?
How y'all doing today?
Julie, you seem kind of different today, bro. You have a frog in your throat or something. I don't know what it is. Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm feeling good.
You sound different today too.
What's
going on, guys?
I think there's something in the water.
Oh, you guys are sick?
Yeah.
Feeling under the
Yeah.
weather? The
Yeah.
hurricane's supposed to hit us soon, so
I
Is there
know.
actually a hurricane coming?
yeah, supposedly.
Yeah. Supposedly over the weekend it's gonna rain, no? Because
Yeah.
the hurricane is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? By the time they listen to this, we might be dead. So who knows? These are our
Right.
final goodbyes.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You haven't heard about it?
No, I have not.
Hurricane Hillary?
Hillary?
Really?
That's
That's
the
what's
You
name?
probably scrolled because you were like, it's probably some conservative talking
Yeah.
about like
Hurricane
Hillary
Hillary?
Clinton.
Yeah, probably. Is that actually?
Yeah. Hurricane Hillary. Yeah.
Have they given it like stage, like, what are the categories?
Whatever
Category
it's
5?
called, it's like staged like, oh fuck. Like it's pretty bad, bro.
Category, oh fuck.
Yeah, like it's
Okay.
pretty bad. Apparently it's supposed to like flood like
Is
San
that-
Diego.
Is
and
that what all the clouds? You've been seeing the clouds,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, the clouds have been
Well, 'cause-
crazy, bro.
Because they even said yesterday
Cumulonimbus.
morning, no, it rained.
Did it actually?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It rained like a week ago, yeah.
No, but it
Summer.
rained yesterday, I think in the morning.
Oh, really?
Either 2 days ago or yesterday. It rained in the morning. Because you know how there was always like
Yeah.
those big clouds?
Yeah.
I guess those had already passed us like through the morning.
Yeah.
And it was raining.
Cumulonimbus.
It sucks because like since this episode's late, I can't even be like, so warning to everybody out there.
Oh, because they're gonna see it next week.
By the time if you got in a
Yeah,
car
right.
crash, you already probably did.
You know though, earlier this year it was raining pretty crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It was scaring me. Remember when that Brit? No, what is it? The underpass flooded. That was wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
on
wild.
the 5?
No,
right
right
here,
here.
by
Yeah.
the
Lincoln
station,
Heights.
by the station.
Oh.
Yeah, by Lincoln Heights.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, they had the underpass, and then there was some dumbass cars thought they like, I could speed through
They
it,
got stuck.
and then their cars just floating,
Flooding.
and then there's
Yeah.
like somebody floating like head under.
I remember I saw that because I had just gotten off the freeway, the one that's like right there by the station, and because like I have to go left instead of right. It was there, but
Oh,
I
you
didn't
missed
see.
it?
I missed it. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But and then I saw it the next day that people were posting like videos of it, and I was like, bro, I was just there, and I didn't even notice it.
But you know what's funny though, that supposedly like LA has like some of the best weather in the world, and I feel
Compared to even now.
yeah, like LA. That's why it's so expensive to live here because LA has like amazing weather.
Damn.
And I only know this because I remember I was talking to somebody who didn't live in LA,
Mm-hmm.
and they were telling me about how like, I love the weather here. It's like always nice. I'm like, what do you mean it's hot? It's like, bro, no, like in other places, hot is like almost pushing 100 degrees, and cold is like below 0.
Yeah.
And here in LA, it's always at least like
It's like
between
80, 90.
Yeah.
Generally
Well, I mean,
speaking.
because when you think about it, like places like like Texas or Arizona, it's always like 100
Yeah.
and something.
Yeah.
And then there's places like Florida where it's hot, but it's also like humid.
And muggy and gross.
Yeah.
You don't even need to go that far. Like Lancaster, that's only like an hour
Yeah.
away. There, it's always like 100 degrees there
Yeah.
daily.
Okay,
And
yeah, the desert, right?
yeah, because I was talking to a friend from over there, and she was telling me like, oh yeah, like I'm a full-on desert rat. Like I love that it's hot. So I'm sure people like if we have listeners from Arizona or Texas, they'd probably tell you like, yeah, it's hot, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But we have no idea if we went there, we would probably fucking melt.
I
Yeah.
fucking hate the hot weather. So I'm always like complaining about it when it's like 90 something. And
Yeah.
then someone who's like from like fucking Arizona and they're like, this is nothing.
It's
I was
a-
like, okay, but this is here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's like 100
I've
degrees
only
at
ever
night.
been here.
But did you hear July was like the hottest weather ever recorded?
Yeah. Didn't we
Was
have
it
like
really?
we had like 2 back-to-back
Yeah, I'll
days or
fact check
something like
this.
that. No, you're right. But
when
go
the
ahead.
heat wave was happening?
There was something happening, and then we had a record-breaking heat. Like it was the hottest something ever recorded, and then like the next day, that record also got shattered.
Yeah, like
From
the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, U.S. Department of Commerce, it's official. July was Earth's hottest month on record. August 13, 2021. July 2021 has earned the inevitable distinction as the world's hottest month ever recorded, according to new global data released today by the NOAA's National Center for Environmental Information. In this case, first place is the worst place to be. Yeah.
What day was it?
July. All of July.
Oh.
All of July, bro. This new record adds to the disturbing and disruptive path that climate change has set for the globe. But I don't know. I mean, if you like hot weather, dub for you. If
I
not,
guess so.
Drew, you gotta move to Antarctica, bro.
Antarctica.
Yeah, it won't be that bad.
You're not allowed to go there, bro. It's the ice wall.
Oh, that's the ice wall. Do you know
Mhm.
what the ice wall is, Julie?
No.
You know
That's
how?
good because they don't want you to know.
Oh, okay. Would you like to know?
Yeah.
Julie, but be careful, bro.
Yeah.
Your whole
You
world
might get a target on the back of your head.
Yeah, the whole
'cause of
world.
what I'm
Everybody
telling you.
listening.
Why do you guys say that?
Just kidding.
Tune out, because
No,
the
but-
government doesn't want you to know, bro.
No, but like, you know how people say the Earth's flat,
Sure.
and
Yes.
how like they're like technically, and then other people will be like, oh, then there's an edge and you can fall off the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the rebuttal to that is that that's not true, because Antarctica is actually like a wall of ice around the
Mhm.
Earth that stops you from falling off the edge.
Yeah.
So that's what people say when they're like,
Yeah.
it's the ice wall.
And that's the
Oh.
real reason why not a lot of people go to Antarctica.
Because you're not allowed to go.
yeah.
You're not allowed to go.
You're
Like,
not. Why not?
Is that true? I'm gonna fact check that. Let me see if these conspiracies.
But why not though?
I'm assuming because it's like it's dangerous, but they're like it's because there's Nazis there.
Why? Because it's just icy that it's like.
I think
dangerous?
there's like nothing, like you'll die.
Ah, okay.
Says the Antarctica Treaty does not prevent tourists, military personnel, or scientific researchers from being present in Antarctica, but they do require an appropriate permit from a treaty party. So I guess no ordinary citizen can go.
Yeah.
You need like a
You have to-
permission from
yeah,
the government.
so you can't go technically.
Yeah, you totally can't go. You see, because then you'll realize that the Earth is flat.
I guess. Is there something wrong with the Earth being flat?
What do you mean?
Oh, like
What do you mean?
you mean like me personally? Like why I'm against like the Earth being flat?
Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
personally?
Like morally, or do you mean like if it was flat, so what? Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Is it a big deal?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. If,
Go ahead.
I think it's a big deal in the way they say it,
Mhm.
like because they say that it's because I think it's because they're hiding the truth from you. That's why it's a big deal. So
Okay.
I don't agree, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's why
The,
it's a
the
big
Earth
deal.
isn't flat, bro. It doesn't make sense. Our whole understanding of like physics would basically be turned over,
Mm-hmm.
and physically can't. Why is it when we look at the sky, the sun is round, but the Earth is flat? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a flat circle.
the moon. We see the moon
There's
rotate.
an orb of light in the sky that you can't stare at, and you don't question that. I think that's weird.
though. Like
So
with
stare at the
sun?
sun. Yeah, stare at the
Stare
sun
at
more, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like an argument people say about like conspiracy theorists. How like it's so easy to come up with weird conspiracy theories like that
Mhm.
because it's like what, like you can't look at the sun. Like, don't you think that's weird?
Yeah.
Like, bro, like you question anything enough, it becomes obscure and
Yeah.
sus.
Yeah.
Like you, Julian, I noticed that like I see you, but then when I don't see you, you're supposedly at work. How come I've never seen you at work? You know,
Yeah.
like
I
Bro,
guess. So.
like,
I guess
You
yeah.
have seen me at
Yeah.
work though.
I just have schizophrenia, bro. I just have schizophrenia.
The third tower conspiracy. There's a third tower on 9/11.
Really?
I heard
No,
that.
no.
I heard that.
You don't believe that?
Really?
No, it's
It's
true.
true. That's true.
There was a third tower near. No, I'm not.
no,
Oh,
no.
you're talking about the building that collapsed next
yeah,
to
they-
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You know, yeah. So I think it comes from that, where people are like,
There is a third tower. though.
but there's you never seen the memes where people Photoshop a third twin tower, So it's like
No, I've never
the
seen
third
that.
tower conspiracy. Y'all
I've
not
never
ready?
seen that.
Bruh.
Yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
that one's funny.
There's a lot of outlandish,
But
fucking conspiracies.
That's hilarious.
the third tower.
The third tower.
I guess moving more into what we're
Yeah,
gonna talk about.
I guess moving more into what we were talking about. Kind of a serious subject, but I don't know. I think it's. I guess the only reason I want to talk about it is just to have it be talked about because I feel like it deserves recognition. So I saw this yesterday, and it says Orange Unified of Orange County may require schools to tell parents if their child is transgender. And they're deciding on this, I think today. Actually, today's the 17th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're deciding on it today. So basically, some of the situations that would warrant parent notification would include requests to use different names or pronouns, requests to change sex, segregated programs such as athletic teams, or changing facilities that differ from the student's assigned biological sex at birth. I'm sure there's more, but those are the two like more alarming ones, I guess, for
Yeah.
people. And I guess I just, for one, wanted to mention it, but also wanted to get your guys' opinions on it.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, I think this is a safe space for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about it yesterday when you sent it to me. And you talked about how, I mean, people who are already like transgender, they already have to hide who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess to not only have to hide it at their household and then hide it at school is pretty troubling.
Yeah.
And I would imagine something like that is not gonna pass because I mean we live in California, which is like one of the most progressive, like, what's the word? Liberal, I guess you could say.
It's just,
like
it's
states.
just supposedly very progressive and liberal.
Yeah. So it's very interesting that Orange County is doing it because I think Orange County is the second biggest county in California, and to have like one of the biggest counties like push for something that's very conservative, I think is very eye opening because people have been talking about for years that California is turning into like a red state. And I want to wrap my mind around, like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what it is.
Well, I don't know. I feel like Orange County,
It's
has
very, it's very red. Yeah. 'Cause
Orange
remember-
County is very red, especially I think they were like protesting out in like Huntington Beach.
No, but remember during the
No?
pandemic, they were also like, they were doing something during the pandemic. I forgot what was it, about the mask or the vaccines?
I think it was
They were like very
The mask,
adamantly
yeah.
about like not doing that.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
They were. I feel like it's they've always kind of been like that. But I feel like going back to like the thing is I feel like it's pretty messed up because I feel like school for some kids it's also an escape from like their household sometimes, and I feel like they go to school and they're a lot more expressive too, and I think we talked about it how like sometimes you meet a teacher and you get very close to them and you get very open to them, and then usually they're the first person you tell things to than rather your parents, because sometimes you think your parents are a lot more like critical or they'll judge you a little more, or you're just scared because they're your parents, right?
There's a lot more at stake.
Yeah.
At telling your parents.
And with like telling your teacher, I feel like there's a lot more confidence there. Like I would think of like when I was in high school and I would want to talk to my teachers and tell them everything, or like my counselors, right? And I feel like that's just really like sad because I also think about like in movies when I always think about this one scene. I think it's from like Bratz, and and this girl dresses very like conservatively because her parents are just very like strict with her on how she dresses. So she dresses very like, like just normal clothing and like covered up sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when she gets to school, she changes into like kind of like a rocker like style of like like a skirt and like flannel and all that. And like she's very like designer. Like she goes very creative with her clothing. And I just think about that a lot, especially like with this of like, I feel like people use school as a lot of a way to kind of express themselves and escape from like what they're used to in their families, especially if they're strict. And I feel like to hear like this type of thing that's happening with them and they can't even do that at school anymore, it's kind of like they don't have a safe space anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I think it also creates like a hostile environment.
Yeah.
And like, I think, well, because, yeah, imagine like not even just teachers, right? Trying to open up to your friend or your mutuals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Trying to be more seen. It's got to be rough because now that's something that you have to basically be on guard and be someone you're not 24/7,
Yeah.
And it's removing a resource from people who really need it, And I think that's really unfortunate, And to me, I think it's a bigger deal than, I just personally think it's a big deal because I think I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it sets the precedent that that's okay.
Yeah.
Or other counties, or maybe even at a state level, someone will be like, hey, you know what? Like, I agree. Or, or even if it doesn't pass, the fact that it's even like being brought up, is to me pretty shocking.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. I just find it a bit unsettling, a bit interesting, a bit, I don't really even know the word, because I think when I like history, I'm a little bit of a history buff. And when I look at a lot of things in history that are on the darker side, there's always in the back of my mind of like, I can't believe this was going on. I can't believe people didn't think this was wrong. Or I can't believe this was occurring. And what a crazy time to be alive. And I think when I see stuff like that, it's a little haunting because it's like, in my head, it would have been a bigger deal. And I think it is a big deal for some people. I'm not trying to understate it, but it just seems so casual. So like, there's just
normalized.
Yeah, so normalized. And I think that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, just fact checking what I said. So I guess good news. Orange County is not actually that big. It's actually it's actually the smallest county by area in Southern California. So that's good. At least it's not the people who are red.
Yeah.
It's like a smaller few.
I just guess with if it does, like how you said, if it does get passed, I feel like it is a thing of like, I guess, influencing other counties or other like cities of like what they want to do. Because I feel like it's a start, right? It's a start for something, and it kind of just sometimes like will trickle into something else. Because I doubt that like there's anyone in LA County who probably has the same like idea that they're probably like, we should do that too, you know? And especially with like just school districts and just like the way that they're run, it's just they don't have a good rep, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I feel like with this just being the starter of it, if it does happen, it's just like, damn, like.
But what's the reason for it happening to begin with?
I can't give you like the 100% like this is the like I this is how I interpreted it. So I could be wrong. So
Yeah.
take this with a grain of salt. I think a lot of people, I mean, we hear about it a lot where they think that being trans or being a part of the trans community or even LGBT period is something that's like you're groomed into. Essentially that it's a choice, right? You see it with the drag queens where people don't like that they're reading to children. And they're like, oh, it's just grooming. It's like kids don't know about that. They shouldn't know about that. Yeah. So I'm assuming the like thinking is that like you're telling the parents that they're being groomed or something bad is happening. Because I think a lot of people throw around that statistic of like, not statistic, that misinterpretation that like, oh, you can just be 12 years old and get like a sex change surgery. Like you don't think that's wrong, you know, stuff like that. So I'm assuming they're trying to like make it be like a safety thing or something like that. Like, oh, your kid could be getting groomed, or oh, your kid's thinking about like changing his body or hurting himself. Oh, your kid, you know?
Yeah.
When that's very much like not even like that's a very poor understanding of what these people are going through. Yeah. You know, and it's not a choice. It's not a lifestyle. Yeah. It's a struggle that they're dealing with, you know? And I think, it creates, go ahead.
So they're basically trying to categorize it like if, say you were getting like sexually abused or you were getting like harmed, right? They're kind of like trying to put it there that because teachers are kind of like mandated reporters, and if you confess something to them, then this is something at the level of that.
I think so. I think it's I don't know that they were like adamantly saying that was the reason, but I feel like they, in my personal opinion, I felt like that's what they were like implying. But I think it's more also like that because I don't know if I sent it to you guys. There was this person interviewing a pastor or priest.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about trans kids, and the pastor was saying, like, I just don't think it's right for, like, kids to get a sex change. Like, they don't even know what's right and left. You think they can make that decision about their bodies. And the reporter was educating on them on what, like, actual sex affirmation or gender affirmation care actually look like, you know? It's really not like that. It's not this like, oh my gosh, we're just giving these kids plastic surgery, you know? I think in my opinion, I think that's what they're kind of getting at, is thinking that like kids are harming themselves maybe. I just think the totality of it all is that there's what's the word, homophobic or transphobic? Like, there's a transphobic, and there's a transphobic air to it, and a huge misunderstanding of the situation. Yeah. And so I feel like I can't really see like the why personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, because that's what I think about too. Because what you said about how some people think it's a choice, it's weird for me to think that people can make that conclusion because of just the way that people treat people who are part of the LGBT community. Like it's very oppressive, very aggressive, very dangerous. I feel like if a person could make the choice, why would they choose to intentionally put themselves at a danger, put themselves in an emotionally stressful environment, you know? And that's what I think about. I also saw in the comments, because I went into the comments, I needed to see what people were saying. And there are people in there who were saying that like, oh, like it's a disease. Like, oh, like how you would tell your parents if like somebody had like schizophrenia, like they equate it to like a disease or something, right? But I think that's weird because, as we've talked about in previous episodes, even before colonialism came, there were transgender people. Yeah. There were people who were called two-spirited. There were the Mouches. Like, there were these people who, even before there was the Western civilization here, they existed in all forms of the culture. And I feel like to say that it's like, oh, it's just a mental disease is to, like, putting, like, a modern, lens on it.
Yeah.
That you think that, oh, this is because everybody now in America is so politically driven, and this world is divided. So, and we're influencing these kids to become these ideas that they aren't even, like they aren't even actually like self-identifying themselves. They're just being influenced by like media or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like has any valid feet to stand on because of that, because of the historical context that people like transgender people have existed for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And to equate it to like a mental illness is just transphobic. It's
Yeah,
just because you're afraid of implementing them and accepting them into your community.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and to add on to that, I feel like I think also like constantly being like it's just a mental illness, like I don't know, makes it seem like you're like that because you're sick. You're not like that's not you're sick in the head.
It's
you're
transphobic.
Yeah, it's transphobic, you know, and I think that's wrong. And I also think, like I was saying earlier, it creates a hostile environment because I think trans people do experience a higher rate of violence, right?
Yeah.
And kids are ruthless, man. So like, I don't know. It's just hard because, like you were saying earlier, I think school is for some people like their first home. You know, there's a lot going on for a lot of people at home. For some people, it's where they feel seen. It's where they find mutuals who are like them. It's where they can meet an adult figure and a teacher or a counselor that's like more affirming or more gentle with who they are as a person, where maybe their parents aren't. You know, so I think, I just think it's really unfortunate that something like that's happening.
Did it say if this is for like all grade levels?
I think it's just like the school district. That's what I saw.
Okay.
Like, so let me check again. So
Well,
I'm
because I
assuming.
was just trying to. Well, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like I always feel for kids because a lot of them are in worlds where they just don't get the world sometimes, and it's like, especially to go through like an identity crisis. It's just like, I mean, I don't know what that's like, but I can only imagine that it's just very like a lot, especially at a young age. Like, especially like for me, I guess I'm going through my own crisis of like growing up and becoming an adult. If I put it in that perspective and like that becomes so much for me of just like age, I can only imagine like what identity is like. Having that crisis is just like so much, especially for a child, you know, and to like
I think
not have like an environment where it feels safe anymore, or like yes, or maybe your parents are good, but it's still like you're still scared because of what you've heard other people talk about, you know. You see it, you for sure see it everywhere, like especially with everyone having access to the internet, you can for sure see like everything that's happened within just like the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, where I feel like the biggest problem, this is obviously a problem, a humongous problem itself, but it for some reason, the more I see topics like this, I think about how one of the biggest problems in modern day, like America, is that there's for some reason this like new wave of like lack of empathy for like other people. I have no idea where it's coming from, but like it's, for some reason, we as like people can't like identify with others, because it also goes both ways, like whether it's like us looking at conservative people or conservative people looking at us. I don't know why, but like right now it feels as though like people see other people as like less human, and because of that, like that's where I feel like all these policies are coming from. Even last week when we were talking about the PragerU thing, and they're like, oh, you know, we needed slavery, like we wouldn't have this great country. Why are they trying to normalize like that dehumanizing language? Like I think that's where like a lot of problems come from, and people who call it like a disease, like transgender disease, like it shows me that you're trying to put a sickness to it because you're like, no, a normal person wouldn't have that. Like, and because you're a sick person, I can treat you less, and I can validate all the evil shit that I want to push onto your people. Yeah. You know, and maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's like because everybody's like just constantly on their phone looking at each other.
I also feel like, I don't know, I think there's something, I guess, that we always talk about, like the individualism, where I think everyone's just so like individually to them, and whatever their beliefs are is what's right. Yeah. And I think that's what's going on, especially like when you read comments, right? I feel like they're just talking about like what they know and what they kind of, and I think that's where it kind of sort of comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, bro,
yeah.
it's capitalism, bro. The more I'm thinking about it, it's because of that. Like,
No, yeah.
go ahead.
I think. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you hit not a few episodes, a while ago. You hit the nail on the head when you said that, like, with TikTok and a lot of, I think just that format of like of an algorithm that's dedicated of a For You page, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, you were saying that you don't have to like venture out of your beliefs. Like, you find your people, you know, and sometimes your people are not good people, you know. But if you're constantly cultivating that, I think you never, like, you know what I'm saying?
Branch out.
Yeah, like if you have a community of people who think that transgenderism or being transgender, or being a part of the LGBTQ community is a disease or sickness or grooming and all these things, and everybody around you is like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the other side is going to seem like, you guys are insane. Look at all these people backing me up. Like, look at all these people who agree with me.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are nuts. You
Especially if they start giving you, I guess, the facts of like everything. They're like, oh, it's a disease because like there's a study or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just constantly hear their arguments.
Yeah, the misinformation,
Yeah.
right? The like, where people are like, oh my gosh, all this. Your kids are getting sex changes left and right, you know? And I just because earlier you asked, part of what was added in this graphic was, OUSD is not the first district in Southern California to embark on similar efforts. In the last month, 2 other school districts in the region have implemented similar policies. I brought it up a few episodes ago that there's something like 300, 400 like policies that have been moved against transgender, the transgender community.
Yeah.
So that's why for me it's shocking. Even if it doesn't pass, which I hope it doesn't, just the fact that like it's like so like everybody's like on board with that, because I think that adds to the whole like why people can't seem to like relate. Because I think if you see like it's something that, even if you don't respect government or like or and stuff like that, it feels like official.
Yeah.
Like, see the boss or like
Yeah.
the higher ups even agree, you know, like we got to do something about this. It makes it seem more dire, you know. So I don't know, that's why I guess it's a little impactful to me, and I'm sure it's impactful to a lot of other people, but yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know, Mero. I was thinking about the pandemic, about how, and I think weirdly enough, probably didn't start there, but it had a good kick of making people isolate themselves and see other people as the enemy. And because I think everybody, whether you consciously or subconsciously thought about it, you probably thought the world was maybe ending. Like, you probably thought like it was about to be every man for himself.
Yeah.
And I think media is a mirror of like what our country is, and our country runs off like capitalism, individualism. And when the pandemic happened, we looked to our media, like The Walking Dead, all these stories about like survival of the fittest. In those stories, it's always you gotta fend for yourself. You don't know who to trust. And I think that just became so realistic that people just kind of took it in with them. Yeah. And then as you saw the country get divided, all the riots that happened in 2020, then people had no choice but to stay at home and live off the computer. We became more and more associated, like you said, with the For You page, this like algorithm of only like-minded individuals. And when you surround yourself with like-minded individuals, you become ignorant to the differences. Like, you become ignorant to different people than you. Yeah. And I think that's why we see a lot of policies like that. Like you said, like, that's fucking insane, bro. The amount of policies that are being pushed, like, it's because of all of that. It's all just kind of adding up. But that's why I think it's important that you bring it up, because people should be aware. Yeah. Because along with how I said, like, oh, you know, you get stuck with like-minded people. For some people, it's also like it's not that they become. It's not like they see a cycle of like, oh, these are my politics and these are my beliefs. Some people just want to unplug and not listen to it, and then they just become in that cycle where they don't listen. And maybe us bringing that attention is like continuing to push people to be like, you should be aware, like you should pay attention. You could have your fun, but just always be aware that the real life exists. Yeah, the internet's a fake place. When you turn off your phone or you turn off the computer, it ceases to exist. But the world is always on. Yeah. So yeah,
very well said.
I'm glad you brought it up, bro.
Yeah, and really I feel like, I don't know, I always think about like I guess us of like what we're doing, and I feel like just bringing awareness is like the biggest thing. At least for me, I feel like, especially talking about this, and that's why I always want to continue like educating myself, especially on like these types of topics. Cause like to think that one day like I'll have a kid, right? And to think that like if they go through this crisis, like what me as a parent I can do
Yeah.
to have them have that safe space at home, you
Yeah.
know? Cause it's like, yeah, like we talk about like some people don't have those spaces at home, but I myself want to kind of learn more so that when I do have kids, like they have that environment already with me.
You left the world in a better place
Yeah.
than when you found it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sentiment that all generations should kind of have.
Yeah.
I like what you said too. Like that's kind of what we try to do. Awareness, bro. But action, bro. Fuck it. Let's throw down the government, bro. Everybody listening, meet up at and then that's where I get assassinated, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. I just wanted people to like. I just hope people read more into it. I just saw this yesterday, so I apologize if I got anything wrong or anything like that. I know it's a serious subject.
Especially
but I think
learning about like what is it, gender affirmation?
like
that video was actually like really nice because I didn't know anything about
like,
it.
right? Yeah.
Where he like talks about, because I think the guy who hosts him himself.
He's transgender.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't quote me fully on
What
that.
are you guys talking about?
Well, I don't know if you watched it. It's fine. I sent a bunch. It was what I was talking about earlier. It was the interviewer who is educating a pastor on transgender affirming or gender affirming care, right? And obviously he brings up the like, oh, well, kids are
getting like sex changes really
stuff
young.
like that. Yeah, like they're giving plastic surgery to 11-year-olds, shit like that, which obviously isn't true.
Yeah.
And then the reporter runs down what gender affirming care actually looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he talks about how like usually when kids, I guess, kind of express that like they're having that sort of like kind of like their identity,
Internal
they
battle.
don't really like give them a sex change. It's more like they kind of go through like therapy or like they go through certain like sessions with doctors and stuff and like family stuff just so that they can like
they affirm you. They're like, yeah, okay, we see you. Like, we see that you're
you're acknowledged that you and all that. And then he says that once they get to the age of puberty, that's when they give them kind of like medication.
It was puberty blockers. But he goes in to say that sounds, it just sounds aesthetically bad. But he's like, puberty blockers are pretty common. Like people take them to lessen the severity, right?
Yeah.
I think for some girls, because I think is it because of their periods or menstrual cycle?
Something
like that, where it's like people get them to like.
I can imagine. Okay.
But it's like a drug that it's fine to like take.
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like he just goes on to say that it's like it's a well thought out like process. Like, and they put like thought into it, and it's not this just like, oh, here you go, hormone blockers. Here you go, like testosterone.
Or it's not, or it's
like
not,
steroids.
Or here we go, we'll cut it off. Stuff like that. Where it's like they make it sound so gruesome and not like.
Yeah, the guy made it sound that like there is a whole step to it before they can fully like change.
Yeah.
It's like there's steps to it. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a right away.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really great because like the guy really like was like, oh, I didn't know. Like the pastor was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like
you see the pastor was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like me right now, bro. Like I have no idea. You guys are educating me.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like,
I didn't know that either.
That's why I think
that's why we're learning, bro. Welcome back to school.
But,
everything is cool.
But I think that video was great because it showed you a lot of like what the pastor saw and like his ideas and his thoughts on like transitioning or like gender affirmation. Sorry if the words are wrong. But like the guy also listened to the other guy and like he explained it to him, and then the pastor was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And he himself even said, I'm gonna do my own research. And I feel like that conversation is just really nice because you can see that it was like two different minds.
Yeah.
And they were willing to discuss together about a certain subject, and then they were kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah,
and like the guy the pastor's probably like still has his own like ideals, but he's still like now more open to the other ideas,
Yeah,
that's beautiful, bro. That's exactly what we need more of. People to like who completely disagree to come to an understanding.
Yeah, I think I just want people to like do the research to like be more understanding, because I personally think that's the avenue out of this. Because I think with all the misinformation, all the misquotes and quote unquote statistics and
Yeah.
all this is grooming, all the propaganda essentially makes it seem so like, I don't know, like I feel like just understanding or just getting their side of things, I think would make things better. Because I mean, I always think of the Dwayne Wade thing, because I think that's something about that is very impactful, because it's like someone of his stature, someone of his power, some of his influence and his obviously money and wealth feels unsafe.
Yeah.
Like he's scared for his family. And to me that speaks volumes, that because it's like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter how big or successful or how powerful you are, because people, like the masses, don't like that.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I think that like the people, like everybody needs to be able to understand it, or like be more open to it, or do their research, because I think that's the avenue. Because I feel like policy can, like that's what influences the policy to begin with, you know?
And I think, I guess you don't have to like it, but I just feel like you have to at least be understanding of it.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, you know, like not your thing, but it's just like at least have that, like,
Yeah, have some empathy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, for sure.
Bro, people are human. Just treat everyone with kindness. What was the golden rule? What did we learn?
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Jesus had some bars.
But some people have like
Jesus,
some people have like what is it called when people degrading kinks? So those, except for those people, don't treat those people like how you want to be treated. Don't degrade other people. You might like it, but other people might not like it.
Yeah.
Right? That makes sense, right?
I think so. Sure. Yeah.
Hey, bro, people are into certain stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. But before we move on, I have a question for you guys.
What's the question?
¿Cómo se dice sponsored?
Oh my God.
Patrocinado.
Wow. She knows.
It's almost like you just had that ready.
Yeah.
Well, in case you haven't caught on yet, guys, the Todo Chido podcast is now sponsored by Yo Sabo the Game.
Ayy.
Where Julie, come on, pull it up.
Why is he flexing like that?
Because we're flexing on everybody.
Because we're flexing how awesome this sponsor is.
They're really cool.
I actually had it right side up this time.
Yeah, they're really nice too. They're always hitting us up, like
Yeah.
very good communicators. There's nothing I appreciate more than
Bruh,
somebody who communicates really well.
I always gotta shout out their logo, bro. It's a brain with a sombrero. They have their mustache.
It's me.
Tú
It's
sabes?
me.
Yeah,
¿Tú
yeah.
sabes?
I should be that for Halloween, bro.
The Yo Sabo
The Yo
mascot.
Sabo mascot. But Yo Sabo, the game, is the new Latino card game for your next game night. You can test out your Spanish, answer trivia, and even win some fun challenges. But better yet, Yo Sabo, the game, is a small business that is ran by 3 Mexican Americans, kind of like this one, who just wanted to practice their Spanish, but ended up creating a new fun way to do so. So make sure to check this game out.
So y'all remember, y'all saw us play this game a couple episodes ago. So make sure you guys purchase your own copy at yosabothegame.com. They can also be found on every social media platform at yosabo_the_game. Thank you to Yosabo to sponsoring our podcast.
Thank you,
Shout out to
guys.
y'all.
Thank you so much. We
Make sure
really
y'all
appreciate
check them
it.
out.
Yeah, links in the bio.
It's a really fun game, and we're going to play it next episode. So
Yeah,
Just
look out for that.
yeah, it'll be really fun.
look
It
out.
really is fun, especially if you bring your no Sabo friends. 'Cause
Yeah.
Then you guys will
Sabo
fight.
friends.
Then you
Yeah.
guys will fight, and you guys
You
can
get
make,
bragging rights.
yeah.
You get
Who
bragging
is the
rights.
most Mexican?
I'm also gonna use this set to teach my boyfriend Spanish. So
Yeah, we got the first edition too. That's gonna be valuable someday.
ooh.
Yeah, and then we're gonna lose it.
Well,
You know,
well,
we're gonna fight.
They'll be
We'll
all
raffle
dingy.
it.
We'll raffle it.
It'll
We'll sign each
It'll have
card.
stains.
Well-
It'll have stains of like drinking and shit.
Greasy ass, like it has my fingerprints on it. Like,
We'll
where-
sell a copy.
the
We'll be
Pizza
like,
Hut fucking like grease stain.
The
Maybe
sponsor.
one day they'll have a Todo Chido edition. Like,
¿Cómo se
Oh.
dice?
Everything's cool.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
and it's cool because it says Tola Cheese.
Anyways.
I could cry. I'm about to break down. Yeah. Anyways, Julie, what did you bring for this week?
So speaking about Spanish, oh yeah, so I wanted to actually shout out everyone who responded to our Instagram stories. Shout out to all of y'all. We got a lot
Yeah.
of responses.
Yeah, we
You
appreciate
guys,
that.
yeah.
We really did.
And one of them that I actually was like, oh, maybe I should talk about this one. So someone had sent.
Wait, give
in-
him a name. Give him a name. Give him a fake name.
I'll give him.
Edward James Olmos.
Ariana, is that you?
Pedro
Ariana.
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he
okay.
said
So Pedro Pascal.
What? Edward James Olmos? Y'all
He's-
sleeping.
Edward. What?
he-
Edward James. What?
Edward James Olmos.
He's the guy who plays Mr.
Almost?
Escalante.
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
Edward.
Like
No,
famous.
I know
He's
my
in
ones,
Zoot Suit.
I
Oh,
know my
young.
twos, and I know my three.
American Me.
Damn, you just
No,
moved off the camera.
No, remember? And then he does the I know my nines. 9 times 2 or something. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
18 or whatever. You never seen that?
Oh, no.
2, 3, 4.
No,
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
see it?
You never seen Stand and Deliver?
9 times 3.
No, oh yeah.
27.
Stop lying. Stop lying.
No, the
I
guy
don't
said-
know.
9
That's all
times
good, bro.
4.
Doesn't he talk about the zero
The
and where it
zero.
comes from?
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the Mayans
yeah,
created
yeah,
zero.
yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
if you knew that.
Because they're all like.
Was it the Mayans or the Aztecs?
I think it was the Mayas. The Maya.
I think-
Mayas.
yeah.
No, not even I think. I know it's the Maya. Because
I-
I went to the Maya Museum here at LA. Today's episode was actually sponsored by...
Bruh.
I
No,
wish.
yeah. In there, that I remember they had that.
Yeah.
So, the Maya Museum.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah,
You were
sorry,
saying?
Julie. I got caught up in the name. Miklo sent us.
Miklo.
No,
Okay.
Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
Okay, Pedro Pascal.
Miguel. I'll just
Miguel.
call him Miguel.
Miguel
Okay.
O'Hara?
Just so that none
Yeah,
of y'all get
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So Miguel sent us a response that said Mexican superstitions and beliefs. I know last week's episode we talked about like the folklores and like the scary, spooky, like La Llorona and like Chupacabra.
Yeah.
So these were other ones that I had seen and like kind of growing up. For some that I wrote down, I said this is the common one that I always used to hear, which was sneezing means your crush is thinking about you. So every time you sneeze, it's because your crush is thinking about you. Did you hear that one too?
Really?
I've heard that, yeah.
Really?
I heard, yeah.
What is? Do you guys know the like?
The lore?
lore?
No.
Because I've heard not in Spanish, but I heard like when your ear's hot is because someone's talking to you.
Yeah, so that was another one. So when your
Spoilers.
ears are ringing, according to the Mexican superstition, that means someone or somewhere is talking mad shit about you.
Man, my ears are kind of warm right now. But
No,
it's
like
'cause I have the
you know how
earphones
they
on.
ring sometimes?
Oh, and they go.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what they mean. Is that when your ears are ringing, it's because someone's talking shit about
Bro,
you.
my ears ring all the fucking time. What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Someone's always talking about you, bro.
It's probably you guys, huh? That's crazy.
Me.
That's crazy.
It ain't me.
Brandon, snake. You know, I believe in magic, bro. I saw my dogs turn into snakes.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other one, this is something that I've seen my mom do a lot, is that when she makes tamales, so the superstition is that you can't make tamales when you're angry or else they won't cook right.
Really?
Yeah. So I remember one time my mom, I forgot what holiday it was. Either it was Thanksgiving or Christmas. But my dad was doing something to her, so she was getting really, really annoyed. And she was, like, getting really angry. And so, basically, she was making, like, tamales, and they weren't cooking. Like, they weren't cooking at all. And so she was, like, she would say, es que me hicieron de enojar, por eso, like, no se cocinaron. And then she also does this other thing. This is just, like, an additional of what my mom does. So, sometimes when, like, if the tamales aren't, like, cooking right, she starts, like, smacking the pot. And she'll be like just to say like, bro, like,
Cook
come
right.
on. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
No, I never
but
knew about the tamale one.
But I've heard of that one. My mom
Interesting.
always would talk about it. And it doesn't just go for like tamales. Sometimes she just says it for like any like cooking of the food.
Yeah.
She'll say like, oh,
Oh,
it's
'cause-
because I was mad and that's why. Or like they also say the other one is when it's very spicy. They're like, oh, it's because you were mad
I
and
say
that's why
that.
you made it.
Oh,
That was
wow.
I say that a lot. I love saying
You
that.
do actually say that a lot. They
Yeah.
must have been mad.
Yeah, when we get salsa and it's hot as fuck, I'm like, damn, they must have been mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one that I've heard too.
It's funny because it's kind of a play on the like it was made with love. It was made with anger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Hatred.
why it's so spicy, bro.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Another one that I also heard growing up was if a child passes under your legs in one direction, they have to pass through again in the opposite direction, or else they won't grow to their full height.
What the fuck? It's too late. Well,
It's too late.
I
You
can't
did that a
imagine.
lot?
I can't imagine how many times my nephew did that already.
Really? Is that a common thing? Like kids
For
just run through
kids?
your legs?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
Interesting.
You never did that as a kid?
If
What?
I did, I don't remember. If I did, I don't remember.
As a kid, would you punch people in their nuts?
No,
Bruh.
no.
Did you ever meet those kids who would?
No, I didn't.
You guys
actually.
been? You guys never knew?
I went to a
Somebody who-
small school, so I was.
I remember when my family would go to soccer games. Do you remember
Mhm.
back when our mom and dad would play soccer? There'd be like little kids, and sometimes the little kids would hit like the adults in their nuts.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know
crazy.
why. Just fucking assholes, bro. As a little kid,
Just
I was like, I mean, it makes sense. He's funny, right? But now as an adult, I'm like, damn, if someone did that, imagine some. You lift them up, throw them away, throw them in the trash.
Yeah.
Bruh. A couple other ones. This one's the most like common one, which is el mal de ojo.
That's why you wear the like necklaces.
Yeah, you
and
wear
stuff,
the evil eye, which in English is the evil eye. And this is a notion that a curse can be passed on just by someone giving you like an angry stare, which is why like they call it the evil eye, because somebody's like
So
Giving you, like-
so the little thing like do you know
catches the
do you know-
energy.
Oh, it
yeah.
catches the energy and
Yeah.
disperses it or
Yeah.
whatever. Interesting.
That's why it's kind of it reminds me a lot of like when crystals, at least what I know is that crystals are the same thing, like they take up the negative energy, and then when you lose them, it's because they like use them to their fullest basically, and like now you need a
Interesting.
new one or something.
Interesting.
A lot of people especially use them for like kids. That's why sometimes they have the little like red band thing.
Yeah, with the blue.
Yeah, with the
Interesting.
so that like for kids, especially
What-
because kids are really young.
Is the blue like a? Is it just painted or is it like
It
a
looks
thing?
like I think it's like a
No, it's painted to be like it looks like an eye, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering is it like a stone or a crystal itself?
I don't think I've seen it. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think. Yeah,
Ah,
I don't
it's
think I've
just
seen it.
like copper.
Yeah,
It's plastic, bro.
It's plastic.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it. So you guys have this one. This one was
Yeah.
interesting. I had never heard about this one, but you guys have heard of Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah.
So I guess for Mexicans, Tuesday the 13th is actually an unlucky day in Mexican.
It's a
household.
lucky day?
It's an unlucky day.
Oh,
So we
So if
say
you're
we
Mexican-
say we say Friday the 13th. They say Tuesday the 13th.
really?
Yeah.
Where's that? What?
No one really knows the reason.
They're just being
but
different?
everyone just says
They just want to be different.
that it's a day of unlucky.
It's a day of unlucky.
There has to be a reason. No way.
I tried
No way it's
looking
just
it
random.
up, but everyone kept saying the same thing, that nobody really knows where it comes
There's
from.
there's no traceable origin. I guess.
Yeah.
So if you're Mexican, Tuesday's the 13th.
Question.
Don't go outside.
Because you're a horror fan.
Okay.
Did Friday the 13th come from the movie, or did the? Because I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you knew this. You know the term bucket list. I'm pretty sure that came from the movie. Like so does
from-
Friday the 13th come from the movie?
I want to say I think it did, but I'm gonna fact check this because I think you're right. I think there is something like that, right?
I
Let's
think
see.
bucket list does come from that movie with there's a movie that came out with if you didn't know, what's his name, Jack Nicholson, called The Bucket List.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how the bucket list is like a common term.
Yeah.
Apparently it like didn't really until that movie.
No, it doesn't come from that, but it comes from religion. It
Oh, it
says
does?
the Last Supper seemed to be a curse on the number 13th, and it was on a Friday. So the
So-
crucifixion was on a Friday, Friday the 13th.
The crucifixion was on
Yeah,
Friday the
yeah.
13th?
I didn't know that
I
either.
didn't
I didn't
know
know
that.
Jesus died on Friday 13th.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
actually kind of deep and a little haunting.
Spooky.
I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be that deep.
I guess it goes in line with what you're talking about. So
I'm trying to think. How do you say Tuesday in
Tuesday?
Spanish?
Martes, miércoles,
Oh, it's martes. Martes.
lunes, martes, miércoles.
Lunes
Yeah,
is
martes.
Monday.
Yeah.
Martes. Yeah.
Because they just say it in Spanish, martes 13. That's all.
Martes 13.
Yeah.
Martes.
Am I right about that
13.
bucket list thing though? I don't want to give people.
I think you're right. Bucket list. Jack Nicholson.
You know what's crazy? You know who Jalen Rose is, right? Did you know he's the first Jalen ever?
I've heard that. I
Wait,
have
who?
heard that. Yeah.
Jalen Rose, he's a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and his name is Jalen. He's the first Jalen. Like nobody was
In
named
history.
Jalen. Yeah. Like ESPN
Really?
did like a history thing on him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like on record like the first Jalen,
Oh wow.
which is interesting because
Yeah.
Jalen sounds like a commonish
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
It
Well,
literally-
because it sounds like Jaden.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally says the term was used in 1999 by American and British screenwriter Justin Zachman in his screenplay for the 2000 film The Bucket List.
So it comes from the movie, right? I think that's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because before it was just to kick the bucket,
Yeah.
and then they just asked the list of things to do, the bucket list.
Yeah.
So it comes from
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know some things. I know some
You
things.
smart. You're
But
smart.
Isn't that crazy? Imagine like creating a legacy that outlives you and people don't even know it came from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
That's
that
wild.
I think that's kind of cool though.
It is cool because I think that's where a friend zone came from too.
From the movie?
Friend zone came from Friends.
Really?
Yeah, friend zone. The term friend zone came from Friends, the TV show. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Whoa.
These terms feel like they've been around a long time, but
Yeah.
But they haven't.
they're new and they get popularized, and then you forget where they came from,
Mhm.
and you're like, "What do you mean? It's always been around."
I wonder what we created.
Maybe we haven't made it yet.
Yeah, well, no, we made it when somebody uses like I don't know what's the common word we always say,
Shit, I don't even know.
or like, "Don't worry, everything's cool."
Yeah.
I don't think we invented everything's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We popularized.
I just like to believe that we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Sure.
Don't
yeah.
worry, everything is cool. Welcome back to school. We hear somebody say that, we're like, oh, "You watched the show? What
Oh,
show?"
It's like The Simpsons, like Eat My Shorts or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Yeah.
So a couple other ones that I have. So this one was a little one that I remember I used to hear a lot growing up too. So eclipses can cause deformities in babies.
Really?
So this is a little darker side of a Mexican superstition, but yeah, it's believed that eclipses can cause deformities in babies. So if you're pregnant and an eclipse is happening, they say that you should wear a safety pin at all times. I used to hear that you should wear the color red.
Really?
Yeah. So that like when there is like an eclipse happening, that you should wear it. Because then the common one that I would hear about was the lip one.
Mm.
That's how. If
Getting a cleft lip?
yeah, that if like you weren't wearing, I guess, the pin or like red, that usually that happens to your baby.
So
During an
you have
eclipse.
to be like a baby though. When do you grow out of this?
When you're pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's when you're pregnant. It's when like the
Interesting.
woman is
Yeah.
pregnant with the baby.
Where's that come from? Just
I don't know.
make that up.
I
I'm
always
just kidding.
I don't really know where like all these superstitions come from, honestly.
They just kind of.
It's just like I
appear.
guess, yeah. I feel like the way I see them is I feel like just things kept happening, and then there was kind of people started thinking that there was like correlation to certain things, and then that's where kind of like the superstitions.
Yeah,
kinda
because
came
I
from.
wonder if that eclipse thing kind of comes from. You've probably heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about it,
Mhm.
where I think it was Columbus, where he came to like the native peoples and was like, "You need to share your food with me, or my God is gonna black out the sun," and they were like, "Yeah, sure." But Columbus knew that there was an eclipse coming,
Mhm.
so when he said that, he was obviously banking on the eclipse happening. So when they didn't know that the eclipse was gonna happen, they were like, "Oh shit, this guy means business," you know.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, is it like that, or it's like there's like a bad origin to it?
Yeah, I would assume.
I was
probably.
gonna say yeah, because I mean, eclipses were very important to like ancient Maya and like indigenous
Because
peoples.
they're very into the sun, right? The
Yeah.
sun,
Yeah,
the sun and moon.
So I imagine it's probably deep. The origin's probably deep.
it's like a little traumatic when.
Oh, it's traumatic.
It's traumatic when eclipses happen.
It's just
You're like, oh
trauma.
god.
I mean, I imagine if I was an ancient person and I don't know anything about like eclipses,
Yeah.
it'd freak me the fuck out.
And I feel like it was probably just like passed along from there.
Yeah.
It probably got lost in the sauce of like what direction.
Lost in the
Lost in the
sauce. These are other ones that I remember seeing on TikTok because it just kind of blew up. The New Year's superstitions that a lot of Mexican or Latino do. The New Year's luggage. I don't know if you guys heard about that one. So this is a practice that you carry a suitcase and you like run around with it so that for the new year you can be like traveling and going to places. So it's kind of like setting up what is it
It's
called?
manifesting.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Like a resolution that you'll start like traveling the world. So you have to like run around with the
With a
luggage.
suitcase.
I feel like that kind of makes me cringe.
Running around with the suitcase. Does it have to be packed?
Aw.
No, you just have to run with a luggage.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I guess what makes me, what makes me cringe like the most is when it's not only cringe, but it's kind of sad. That's when I feel like I see the cringiest.
You think that's sad?
I feel like it's a little sad. Because what if you don't go? You're just like, you're just hoping that you do.
It's
You're
just
running around.
It's just a little
Wait.
tradition that people
Question.
do.
Do you guys do that grape thing?
Yeah.
I do that too, but what's the like?
So basically, the grapes is just for good luck. So eat 12 grapes at midnight for New Year's
it's
Eve,
12 grapes.
and then for like 12 months.
Oh.
The 12 months.
How many grapes do you eat?
I thought it was like the number of the year. Like,
You ate 23?
yeah. No, that's not what I
No,
thought.
you have
I
to eat
genuinely.
12.
How do you even fit that in your mouth? Are you like?
Oh, you have to eat it all at once?
Oh, I don't know. I
I
thought.
thought it
I
was.
ate them all at once. You guys don't do that?
No.
I literally
No,
had my mouth.
I just was like, I just thought it was like you ate a bunch of grapes. Like it's 23
No.
grapes, you know?
So that's another like superstition. But
I feel dumb.
from what I heard,
I guess none of us do it right.
no, it is 12,
Yeah.
and you eat them, and they're for good luck, and it's 12 for the month of the.
Well, I guess
the
I get
year.
extra good luck.
And then it's also.
You're supposed to eat them at once, no?
I
And
also
don't you,
heard.
are you supposed to say
I
your
also
wish?
heard. Yeah, I also heard you have to say your wishes with
Yeah,
them.
I know that. That's
Yeah.
how I was like, you know?
You were starting to run out, like, fuck,
I don't
good
know.
health.
I guess, like-
good day tomorrow.
A sandwich or something. I
The
don't know.
sandwich.
I was worried when it would get to like 2050. Be like, bro, I can't. Like, I can't do.
What am I supposed to do?
Bro, I can't eat 50, man.
But another one that they do for New Year's is that you crawl under a table at midnight.
Really?
So if you're single, you crawl under the table so that for the new year you can find love.
Interesting.
That's another
Interesting.
one.
What's the New Year's kiss thing? Is that just like fun?
I think that's like when you're like in a couple and it's just good luck for you as a couple.
Interesting.
Like that you guys still like prosper, you know?
Oh, okay.
You know?
Why
and
do
then
you? But that's so funny. Like if you're single, like I want a girlfriend. Like, bro, you gotta go under the table. Like you gotta go under the table, bro.
I feel like
I don't know where they
trust,
come
trust.
from.
I feel like-
Hide.
I feel like that's just humiliating. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, look, he's under the table.
I
He
just
thinks
think
he's gonna get him a new
I
girlfriend.
just think they're just funny like superstitions.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I sometimes still kind of follow some of them. I mean, I've never done the luggage or the table one. I've done the grape one.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that one
Wrong,
growing
yeah.
up.
I've done it wrong. Yeah.
And then the last one that I had for the New Year's one, the color of your underwear determines what you want to manifest
Yeah,
for the new year.
I saw that on Joe Pera. I saw
Yeah.
his episode. You saw that?
Yeah. What do they mean though? Do you know?
It's like
So-
the color is like
I know. But like,
Oh.
what do the colors mean?
So
blue means
red,
health, right?
I think so. Yeah. So red and or pink mean like you want more love or romance for the year.
I don't even own red. Oh, TMI.
The viewers, don't tell the viewers.
TMI.
What color underwear he's wearing?
No, never mind.
Guess. No.
Guess what color
Yeah.
underwear?
Um,
I don't even know.
White means you're hoping for more peace and tranquility. Yellow means you're hoping to boost your bank account, so like money.
Okay.
Black, you're ready to take charge or regain some control. I don't know what that means.
Regain control.
Green is for you're in the mood for adventure or some sort of change.
Okay.
And then yeah, pink is love. Blue is your goal for the year is to eat better, work out, and have more mental breaks.
What if I
like
wear
wellness.
8 pairs of underwear?
Yeah, I
at
was
once?
just gonna say that.
Right?
Can you do that?
Great minds think
Hey,
alike.
Can
sure,
you cheat?
Yeah, right.
sure. Do
Wait,
what
wait,
you want.
wait,
Do what you
no,
want for
but
the new
Why
year.
wouldn't we just wear like a rainbow pattern one underwear?
Yeah.
We have to put on 8.
That's a good idea. It's like Technicolor.
Y'all are the ones who wanted 8 underwears for New Year's.
You and me
40
have like
grapes.
fucking like a fat ass too. We're like, wait, why don't we just wear one underwear?
So did you guys hear any other ones growing up? Any other superstitions?
Step on the crack, you break your mom's back.
Oh
Is
yeah.
that one?
Classic.
Classic.
Break a mirror and bad luck.
But I don't remember them being like Hispanic or like
Yeah.
not Hispanic. I shouldn't say that, right?
Don't say Hispanic, bro.
I don't remember them having non-American origin.
I'm trying to think of any.
I always feel like I commonly heard them.
I
Like
think so.
especially when I would hear the sneezing one when I would be like at a family party. I would always hear that one. Like,
Yeah.
oh, te está pesando la novia. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, and you say I sneeze a lot.
You
sneeze a
both
lot.
no. I'm telling you guys, viewers, Steve and Julie have identical sneezes. If you put me in a dark room and they both sneeze, I would not be able to tell who it was.
I do sneeze a lot though. I really do sneeze a lot. People always thinking about me, bro.
Mhm.
Stop thinking about me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm dead. No, but yeah, but these are interesting because I was like, yeah, I remember at least the ones that I said. I remember growing up,
Hearing up.
hearing.
Here you go.
I remember watching
I
Up,
forgot
bro.
the.
Up's a good movie.
Up
I
is
like
good.
that.
The only one that I didn't know was the Tuesday the 13th.
Yeah, that one's weird.
That one was. I was like, interesting. Never heard of that.
I feel like now knowing the origin of Friday the 13th, that one, like, come on, like, how can you even
Compare
Yeah, that's when God Himself got nailed to a cross.
Christ Himself.
Yeah, God. In
Maybe
physical
something
form.
happened to them on a Tuesday.
Well, because if I have to brush off my Catholicism, isn't there like a whole week of that like going on? Because remember, it's like Good Friday, something Saturday, and then Easter Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So was there something on Tuesday that I forgot about?
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Oh, that's why it's bad luck.
Oh.
It's Tuesday 13th because it's when everybody goes.
It was when they
So it gets
first.
packed?
No, it's because when they first did Taco Tuesday, and now they're mad because they're like they can't escape that. You know.
I'm dead.
That's
They're
like
cursed
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, they're cursed.
Tuesday
with
the 13th.
Yeah.
The day Taco Tuesday started.
I think it's funny that me and Steve both did the grape thing wrong. He
I
has
know.
his cheeks full of grapes. Like I can't.
I thought you were supposed to eat them at once, bro.
I don't
was
know.
really like-
I generally thought it was like you get a grape and then you eat it
You know-
and you say your wish.
Because
and then you grab another one,
I
and
literally
then you say your
remember
wish.
at New Year's being like, fuck, I feel like I can't fit the other one.
But I feel like I remember my and Bobby did the same thing.
Right? You're just
Yeah.
like, eat them at once,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because I think about it, I'm pretty sure it's because of this. Probably in 2012, they gave me 12 grapes, and I was like, oh, 12 for 2012. So I was like,
And then
okay.
and then it just stayed like
13.
that?
No, I'm telling you, I was literally like, damn, really? Like, so in 1999, people ate 99 grapes? That's
I'm
insane.
dead.
I guarantee you nobody does the grape thing right.
Yeah,
Nobody does it
nobody
right.
does
it right.
I bet you everybody
I'm telling
does
you,
wrong.
it got lost in the sauce the way it's
Yeah.
supposed to be done.
I don't know. I think the way I do it's kind of fun.
Would you guys ever create your own, like, a little, like, superstitions?
Superstition.
I feel like
Passed down.
it'd have to happen like on accident, like in a way. Like I'd have to be like, whoa. You get what I mean?
Bro, honestly, Friday 13 has always actually been really unlucky for me. I got in a
Really?
car crash on Friday 13. Yeah. And then I forgot what happened the next year. Or not even the next year. The next time it happened, I remember something equally as bad happened.
Damn.
And I actually do, like, always kind of have it. But it only started on the day that I got into a car crash in 2019. Because I was wearing my Jason Voorhees, like, hockey jersey.
Yeah.
And then every time I would wear it after that, some bad luck would always happen to me. So I give it away. I don't have it anymore.
Interesting.
Maybe it was the shirt.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
it
it
was
was,
a
the shirt. Yeah,
Maybe some.
I genuinely do like that though. That's cool sound design.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
no, it is. I like his costume.
Yeah. I like. he's
But
just
I
a
also
big
like Halloween's theme too.
dude. Yeah.
Oh, bro, they shit used to haunt me when I was a little kid. I feel like it would give me chills down my spine, like somebody was actually looking at me.
What, the Halloween?
Yeah, one time I was actually around like Halloween season. I remember I was looking at cards, and there was this Halloween card, and when you open it, it was one of those ones that played music. It was playing the Halloween theme.
Oh no, you jumped.
And no. I opened it and I was like, whoa, like this is creepy. It was like something like, Happy Halloween. I hope you have fun, but don't remember the most important thing. And then that's when you open the card and it says, to always leave the door locked. And it's like a picture of a door open and somebody's like
Hand or
hand
something?
reaching out
Yeah.
and about to get the guy who's on the first cover. And I was just like, damn, that's chilly. And then out of just pure fucking coincidence, a friend from oh shit, okay, bleep that out.
Okay.
A friend from school fucking pulled up and like hugged me from behind, and my soul left my body.
Damn.
Bro, yeah, like I literally like I did not know they would be there. They hugged me just out of like pure coincidence,
Mhm.
and I was so fucking scared.
Damn.
Yeah.
And he screamed. Well, that was really interesting. Do you have any more, or is that it?
No, that was it.
Oh,
Those were
cool.
all my superstitions.
That's
so I
cool.
kind of still believe those. I feel like, I guess believe is not the thing. I feel like they're just funny to
Yeah.
like still follow from
Yeah.
there. Oh, the other one that I remember now is if you drop your food, it's because somebody was craving it. So I remember every time too when I would like drop my food, they're like, "Oh, es que se te antojó." I would always hear that one too. I like that one. That one's my favorite one. Like when I drop food,
Cause
I'm like, "Oh, es que se te antojó."
you have to be the one accountable, and you can point
Yeah.
at somebody else and be like, it
That's-
was your fucking fault.
That's a
Yeah.
good point. Like, yeah, I saw you eyeing my food, piece of shit.
It wasn't
I
my
dropped
fault.
it. Yeah, it wasn't my fault. I blame you.
No, yeah, that's the one that's my favorite one. That one and the sneaker.
Okay. Is it about my time, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Talk
the
about my
floor.
topic.
Take the floor.
I'm last for once, guys. For once, I'm the one who's going last. But I think what I had to talk about is pretty interesting. I wrote a whole script, so I hope you guys bear with me because I felt like this is the best way to construct my thoughts. Um, so there's something worse than being born poor or untalented, and it's being born ugly. Studies have shown that not only does pretty privilege exist, but it begins as early as preschool, with the cuter kids being given more attention by their teachers, which often leads to better grades. But it doesn't stop there, with research showing that attractive people are not only more likely to be hired for jobs over their less attractive, equally qualified counterparts, but are also more likely to receive raises and even face lenient judgments in criminal offenses, which I think is pretty crazy. Really quick, taking a break. Bro, that's crazy. You could get, for somebody who did the same criminal offense as you get a lesser sentence just because you're prettier. Bro, that's fucking insane.
Well, it's
But-
literally like that stereotype, right? Of like, they didn't get the ticket because they were pretty, right? The speeding
yeah,
ticket.
bro. Like, that's okay, but I'll continue. While it's easy to become discouraged by the unfair advantages of pretty privilege, it's important to note that these biases are able to be changed once we not only acknowledge that pretty privilege exists, but question our own internal bias, especially when we realize that the modern day beauty standards are rooted in colonialism that favors white features. So it's vital that we continue to challenge what we deem as beautiful, because we know that beauty is whatever we believe it to be. That was kind of my little spiel, but I mean, I obviously have more.
Yeah.
So I'm being serious. This is an actual study. It's known as polchronomics, the study of economics around physical attractiveness, with some of the advantages of pretty privilege also being wages, bro. Yeah, you people who are deemed as more physically attractive often are given more raises, like on a statistical like average that they did. And it's true too that you know what's crazy? It's so significant that when the pandemic happened and we went to virtual teaching, people who were deemed as physically beautiful, their grades actually went down because they couldn't.
Really?
Yeah, because they couldn't
use their privilege.
Yeah, they couldn't use their privilege.
That's really interesting.
And that apparently there's this thing called the halo effect.
Mm-hmm.
So the halo effect is that we often deem people who are attractive to have to be
More
of higher
innocent?
morality, have better mental health, and have greater intelligence. So if you're beautiful, socially, people are gonna think that you're just a better person.
That's
That-
crazy.
Yeah, that you're like, yo, he's probably so nice. He's probably so smart. He's probably got a lot of money. And so I wanted to ask you guys a few questions.
Okay.
Have you personally ever experienced pretty privilege in your life, or seen other people experience pretty privilege?
I've seen other people go through pretty privilege. I feel like I've gone through girl privilege, where I think I don't know if it's pretty privilege, but I think just because I'm
Bro,
a girl
hype yourself
sometimes-
up. It's pretty privilege. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I don't know.
That I don't know.
What do you
But-
do you consider yourself pretty?
I'm average.
You don't
I feel like there's prettier people, because usually when I'm with someone, I feel like they're
Yeah.
prettier, or at least the person that I'm talking about that got the pretty privilege. I thought that shit was crazy, because they got some shit for free, and I was like, damn, I couldn't get that.
Yeah.
Bro.
I don't think I've ever experienced pretty privilege. Sorry. But I always thought, you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of an insider thing. I don't want to
Mhm.
expose anybody. That one teacher we had at school who was always like, when we were doing that, remember?
Well, I mean,
his name
continue.
his name starts with an M. We had him in school, and when we were showing our projects, he'd always be like talking to the girls and be like, oh, you know. I thought that was a little. I personally thought that was a little weird.
In high school,
No,
no. I guess I
Not
won't be
high school.
specific
not
about
high
it.
school. I'll tell you about it after, but
Mm.
I feel like it actually.
Well, because we can't out him.
Yeah.
we can't out
He's
him.
probably still working,
Yeah,
but he would just show more of his focus and I guess kindness, because he was kind of a mean guy.
Mm.
He would show it more to the prettier girls.
yeah,
in
and
our
we're not
class.
exaggerating. We would joke about that,
Yeah.
like just off the cuff, but then he actually started doing it, which was
Yeah.
weird.
I had also heard, I guess in a similar story like that, I had also heard that there was a guy, one of my coworkers, that he would only be nice to the girls, but he would be like very like stingy with the guys.
No, yeah, definitely. I think pretty privilege is weird when it's like when you think of like your Ted Bundys or shit like that. Or you've seen that Twitter page that's mugshotties, where they have a collection of women who have mugshots but look beautiful. You know,
Oh, really?
you never seen
No, I don't
mugshots?
think,
Never
I
seen
don't
it?
think I've seen them.
You never? I'll send you when it comes up.
He's like, oh, it's my favorite page.
No.
He's like, I follow them.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
people bring up, because I did a deep dive into it. People bring up that there is technically like some danger to the pretty privilege,
Yeah.
because we excuse people like that, literal serial killers, because of just their looks and the way that.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's celebrities who like have said and done like pretty bad stuff,
Yeah.
but it's very obvious because they're very attractive. Nobody holds them as accountable. That's kind of weird. But it's probably also racist too, right? Because I mean, like, what is beauty? You know, like, there's obviously a very Eurocentric beauty standard. So I mean, like, I think there's also a lot of racism and like stuff like that adds to that. You know,
It kind of reminds me of like when you hear about when a teacher dates a student and the teacher's really hot, and they're like, "Oh, we get why like the kid was like so into her or whatever."
Yeah, I mean, like the George Lopez episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh my god, like you know what I'm talking about, right?
You excuse traumatic behavior because of their physical appearance, which is dangerous.
Yeah,
because I guess I thought it was really fascinating, because I feel like this is something that's almost even harder for people to kind of look past.
Yeah,
because it's like, well, yeah, bro, they're hot. Like, what do you mean? Like, just let them be hot. Like, some people are born hot. But when you really dive deep into it and even like understand what is beauty, like what do people find attractive, it's like I was reading, like, I'm telling you, bro, I really deep dive. It's like whatever is portrayed like in our media and what we as a society, as a collective, see as beautiful, and that comes from has colonistic roots, because what was deemed beautiful was Eurocentric features, because when colonialism came here to the Americas, it was obviously like, oh, these native indigenous people who are here, they have to assimilate and be like us. So we have to teach them that whatever they look like, however they act, is bad, and they got to start acting and behaving and looking like us, because we're the standard. So I think that's why I am like, bro, no, like, really think about it. Think about the people who, even ourselves, like, are in own internal bias. The people that you think are beautiful and pretty, are they pretty and beautiful because they fit the Eurocentric standard? Or is it because of something more, what's the opposite of shallow? Substance? Like more substantial? More
substance-based?
More like
deeper?
Something deeper. Is it because of like what they think? Is it because of how they act? Is it because of some warmth or welcomingness do they bring? Because I feel like if you never really like address that, then it'll always be that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like we as a human species, we value equality. Like we value equality and equity.
Yeah.
And this is like a form. This is one of those things that we kind of don't talk about.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it to jump in a little.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, or I guess pose this idea is because I do think now people are talking about it. Like, I think when you see body positivity and people asking for representation and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of, I appreciate that. You know, I think it's a good attempt at trying to fix this. But I think also because it's kind of an unconscious thing. Like, when you're attracted to someone, you're attracted to someone. You're not like, I'm going to be attracted to you. You know, or if you're not gonna be like, I'm not gonna be attracted to you, because I mean, good luck. You know, that's not how it works. So I'm guessing that's why it's a little hard to address. But I was gonna ask, like, how unconscious do you think it is? Like, do you think it's just really unconscious?
I don't know, because I feel like I feel like people are somewhat conscious about it, but I also feel like I don't know, because I feel like just speaking on through like experience. And the reason I was just like, I don't think I'm pretty, because I feel like every time I've seen someone get treated better, it is because like they're pretty, or like they're treated a lot nicer. Like, people are nice to them, they're talkative to them, and like people don't do that, I guess, to me. And I guess to think about it, I feel like some people do see it because I think they're just like really attracted to the person, or they're like trying to impress them because they're pretty. I feel like there's a certain degree where it is like they're pretty conscious about
Yeah.
what they're doing because they're trying to get their attention.
Yeah, I guess because like when there's like a pretty person, their attention feels like currency.
Yeah.
So like you want them to like you because
Mhm.
then it's like, oh, someone that pretty or this
Yeah.
high up likes me, then I must also have some value.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining that's where like grades and like money and
Yeah.
promotions and all these things that like people get, it's like that's kind of the motivation of like, please like me because you're so pretty, you know, because then it's like maybe I'm pretty, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know. So
Or like it's kind of like the popular kid is like talking to me, or like
Yeah.
they're acknowledging me, like, oh, that's really cool. I don't know. I feel like to some people, I think they are conscious about it.
yeah.
You know, at least that's speaking through like my own experience, that I feel like people are a little bit conscious about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think people are more conscious that they'd like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because to be to like willingly and like honestly say like, oh yeah, like if they're pretty, like let's say you're a barista, I'm gonna give them a free drink, or if they're pretty, I'll probably be nicer to them. I genuinely think it's in there. I think most people are aware of it.
They just don't fight it.
Yeah, you just don't fight it because
Yeah.
you're like, well, this is what everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I want to make sure like maybe I can outshine everybody else. And like you said, bro, what you said, bars, like their attention is like currency.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the more you have, the richer you become in the social ladder.
Yeah.
And that's what like I can find it hard to kind of explain this concept to people because it's like, well, some people are just born lucky,
Yeah.
right? Like some people are just born rich, or some people are born privileged. And I'm like, yeah, but even in that, putting beauty aside, let's say we were back in the day, some people are born white while some people are born black in America in the 1940s and 1950s. They should be equal. They should be treated the same, but just one was, quote unquote, lucky to be born white, lucky to be born privileged. And so I feel like even if somebody is, quote unquote, born pretty, it's not fair to treat them any differently than you would treat anybody else. And it's not fair to treat somebody who's, quote unquote, again, ugly, less human, like I was saying earlier. And then that's why I guess I was already kind of like peeking into my topic earlier, is that like I can imagine for a lot of people, they can easily dismiss this and be like, no, like, what the fuck? Like, come on, bro, let people be hot. Like, some people are hot, some people are not.
Yeah.
And then even that, I think that's why it's even more important. And it made me become more warm to the body positive movement, because there's a bunch of articles talking about how that's actually dismantling that whole system of like pretty privilege. Because, bro, beauty is $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
People pay money. It's an actual like economy in and itself of trying to look better.
Yeah,
so
for
it's
sure.
real. Like it exists, and I get why people are like, it might be hard to explain it, but I feel like if you don't want to dismantle the beauty privilege, it's because you have a lack of empathy for people who are ugly, because you feel as though people who are ugly are somehow less human. Like, bro, how's that fair that somebody who is as equally qualified as somebody else gets the role just because of physical appearance, just because of some way that they were born?
Yeah.
Like, it's not obviously racist, but it like plays along the same parallels of why racism is wrong.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it is deep. I think it's deeper
Right.
than people want to give credit to. I mean, movies, right? The main character is always like handsome,
Yeah.
very beautiful, and even if they're not handsome, not traditionally handsome, it's like, oh, they're wearing glasses and they take them off and then they're like a bombshell. You know what I mean? So like stuff like that where it teaches you like only pretty. You know, I'm sure people like, nah, like not me. Like I don't think like that, but like. I don't know. I genuinely think media, stuff like that, influences you a lot more than people want to admit. So like if you see that main characters, you know, the successful people, they're always slept on, they're always really handsome, they're always really pretty, you know? Yeah, I think it's deep, you know?
Because I also think it begins with yourself, like the internal of like what you deem as beautiful. Because I liked what a lot of the articles were talking about, how like beauty is a social construct. It doesn't necessarily like, there's no standard. There's no real standard for what it is. It's based on cultural and societal norms.
Dude, 100%. And coincidentally, speaking of movies, or like, I was watching Mean Girls the other day, I like that movie. I think it's funny. But you know that scene where she's like, "Oh my gosh, your ass is so fat," and she's like offended.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, what?" And like, you know, and that was a lot in the early 2000s, being super skinny, being
Yeah.
super petite, and not having a fat ass or whatever. But now you look at now all the BBLs and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's very in to be like to have some junk in the trunk.
Yeah.
So you know, I think it's a little funny, like you know, but it goes to show you that that's true. You know,
Yeah.
like beauty standards do change. What people find attractive does change. You know, so yeah, I think it's deep.
Yeah, beauty is whatever you want it to be. If you think you are beautiful, then you are. I think therefore I am, right? I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm a 10 out of 10.
I think so too, bro.
do you,
Thank
do
you,
you
thank
guys
you.
think?
And I think you guys are all beautiful, bro. I think you guys are a 10 out of 10. I think, like, cause, bro, you were talking about how, like, oh, it's because people get treated differently and I don't get treated the same. Comparison is the thief of joy, bro. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Comparison is never healthy.
Yeah.
You are beautiful and you should treat yourself as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
we were
is
watching that Bluey episode. Just run your own race, Bluey. You know?
Blue.
Do your own thing, bro. Do your own thing. The whole world could tell you you're ugly, but as long as you believe you're beautiful, then that's what you are.
Do you guys think guys experience or girls experience more pretty privilege than guys?
For
Yeah,
sure,
actually, yeah.
For sure, yeah.
There's one of the studies that that I was reading about. So it was saying that, you know how I talked about how when things moved to virtual learning during the pandemic, for girls their grades went down for the women that were deemed pretty, but for guys it stays the same.
Damn.
Yeah, and it goes to show you that in society we deem beauty, like outwards beauty, as more important in women than we do in men. In men, where like the personality and the inner beauty is what makes up for anything in the outer.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like. It's a societal norm, bro. Like beauty to continue to like act as if pretty privilege doesn't exist. It perpetuates a lot of like misogyny and a lot of like the patriarchy.
A lot
Yeah.
of misogyny.
It's deep, bro. It's deep.
A lot of racism.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. Interesting. Very interesting.
But why do you
That's
ask?
crazy. No, I was just interested because
Yeah.
what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
About like, I guess girls getting more, I guess, of the pretty privilege than guys.
Yeah.
I just want to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Because I was like, I know that I feel like girls receive it more. Because, I mean, you always hear the thing of like, yeah, the ticket
Yeah.
and how the girls can always kind of like get out of it.
Pretty girls don't get tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, I think that it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, women have it so much easier. And I personally don't agree with that. Because I think there's an aspect of pretty privilege that's also like sexualizing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe in some cases, like it can be like, oh, I got a free cup of coffee, you know? But then you look at like the entertainment industry with Harvey Weinstein, where it's like, yeah, you got the job because you were pretty, but like you got taken advantage of. You got oogled and ogled at. You know, all these things that I feel like I wouldn't say that it's like I completely envy that. You get what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of burden and like that does come with it, you know?
That was one of the things also that I read up about, was that one of the, from the other side, right? If you are the beautiful, pretty, you fit all the standards of whatever the beauty standard is, that for you there is troubled waters still, because when you don't meet the expectations that people think of you with the halo effect of like, oh, your mental health is really good, or like, oh, you're really successful, or you must be a really good person, that apparently when you don't meet those standards, that you're given a bigger backlash than somebody who was uglier. So like if somebody who is seen as beautiful does struggle with mental health, then they're less likely to be treated with the same empathy, because it's like, oh, bro, everything's, what do you mean? Like, you're such a blessed person.
Yeah.
Like
Everything's,
You look perfect.
What do you have to be sad about? You're
Yeah.
stunning. Like,
Yeah,
you're
like-
10 out of 10.
yeah,
I get
exactly.
what you
And
mean.
it's like, oh, boo-hoo, like a beautiful person.
Boo-hoo.
You're sad. You have
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm ugly and poor. Like,
and sad. Yeah.
like, so that's one of the struggles, is that like there's a lot of expectation on people who are beautiful, and even in itself, because it sounds funny, right? Like, like, oh, there's a lot of expectations on when you're perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's also probably objectifying too, right?
No, it totally
For
is.
sure.
It's probably objectifying, because it's like, obviously we can go into like the objectification of women, but like, I mean, even like on a more general level, to be like, do you just like me for what you see on the outside?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that's not a fun like experience. You know,
Yeah.
to be like,
Well, because I feel like, I think especially when people want to get into relationships, I feel like the first thing is always just the looks.
yeah,
Like no matter what, you can say like, yeah, you like personality, but I feel like it's always just the
Yeah.
looks. That's the first thing you see, and it's like there's nothing wrong with it because it's the only thing you can see first. You know,
Mhm.
you can't. It's how they say you can't see love, but
Mhm.
like you can feel it. But it's just like as a person, if the first thing you just see them is that they're pretty, you're gonna go for it. You know, you're gonna go for that person because you're more attracted to them, right? And I think there's like, I also see it as like, I guess there's nothing wrong with it because it's just the way it is, you know. And like, I don't think anyone's really at fault.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah,
I assume it's harder. Probably meet a lot more shallow relationships because
Yeah.
people just like you for who you are, and then you'll be like, I actually have ambitions of being an artist one day. It's like, oh yeah, that's
Oh,
cool,
yeah,
that's cool,
that's cool. Yeah,
that's
whatever.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just like staring at you.
Well, it
like,
probably undercuts your achievements too sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I worked hard
Mhm.
for this. Like, nah, you just.
It's because you were just pretty.
It's because you were pretty. You didn't
Yeah.
work hard, you know.
yeah,
So I think it's. I
goes
think it's
Either
yeah,
way, like
yeah.
either one gets a negative effect
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Oh,
guess-
that's why we gotta uplift each other.
that's
you
why
know?
we gotta
Yeah,
uplift
bro.
each other. Tell everybody that they're beautiful.
everybody listening, everybody watching, you are beautiful, and I
Mhm.
can look you right in the eyes and say that.
Yeah.
Dead ass. Beauty is whatever you want it to be.
Mm.
Beauty is whatever you believe it to be. If you think you are beautiful, you are.
Mhm. Look
think-
in the mirror. Hype yourself up.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
If you don't feel pretty, then change something.
change,
Uh,
change something.
Change what you think
if you don't
is
feel
pretty.
then don't do that.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Oh, what's that funny? Like it's like, oh no, you're so beautiful. How does it go? I forgot how it goes. Like, no, you're so beautiful. I forgot how it goes. I don't remember.
I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
losing. Yeah,
What are you
I
talking
know
about?
what you guys are talking about. It's like a popular thing of like when somebody's like down, like in like troubled state, like oh, I hate how I look, like I just think I'm gonna
What a beautiful.
quit my job, and it's like, no, don't do that. You're so beautiful. You guys don't know what I'm talking
I
about.
think I know what you're
Right?
talking
what you're
about.
saying.
I think
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
No, you're so beautiful. Please don't.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I'm talking
I think I know what you're talking about. It sounds kind of familiar.
Right.
It sounds
I'll
kinda
probably
familiar.
remember after
Yeah.
the show. It's too
Yeah.
late. I fumbled already. I embarrassed myself.
But everyone, spread love
Spread
to
love,
yourself.
and remember, at the
Everything's
end of the
cool.
day, everything's
Everything's
cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Before we send y'all off, I gotta do a quick shout out to our Patreon, our patrons. We appreciate your patronage. Shout out Daniel Villanueva, shout out Yoel, shout out Catfriend, and shout out Jada Chicano. Again, we really appreciate your patronage. It helps us a lot. If
You are
want-
beautiful.
Yeah.
These beautiful.
You guys are
people.
extra beautiful.
You guys are extra beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys probably get pretty privileged all the time.
Yeah. If you would like to join the Patreon, our
Mhm.
link is always in the description.
We are shooting a Patreon episode after this. So,
Yeah. So if you
go
want
ahead
to
and
see
tune
that,
in.
go ahead and sign up. But until then, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.